Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be back with all of you today to wind up what we feel has been a very successful series. I want to thank all of you. You have been doing such a terrific job, not only at your work, but tuning in to all the wonderful wellness programming that we have been offering from the university. We have had so much positive feedback on this Stay Calm and Well series that we are going to be offering a part 2 that will start in July, taking your feedback from your surveys. So, as you all know, we have emphasized skills building in every single weekly lecture. I can't reinforce enough how critical it is to practice the skills. That's when you're going to experience the biggest benefits from putting a lot of this content into practice. Last week, you had a great lecture on nutrition, and I hope that you created a SMART goal and you watched 2 cooking videos. If not, it's not too late to do that now. So take a look at these images. There is so much negative out there right now. You can see these memes and their messaging that they sent out to people, for instance, the Hunger Games. May the odds forever be in your favor. What we have to realize, though, is becoming COVID fatigued, too much negative media, and we talked about that in my very first lecture on CBT skills building. Beware of taking in too much negative media and messaging. Remember, our brain puts out what we take in. It's good to stay updated with good data from reliable sources like the CDC, but you don't want to keep pouring in all the negative, because when we do, we get more stressed, anxious, or depressed. We have seen, not just in Ohio, but throughout the country, people experiencing difficulty sleeping, anxiety, increased use of alcohol is really on the rise right now. But if we practice the mindfulness skills, the CBT, the resiliency skills, we can actually strengthen our coping resources during this time and be functioning at a higher level. 2 very important strategies that are often overlooked in terms of what can really help us as we continue to experience uncertainty related to the pandemic: gratitude and positivity. In positive psychology research, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about at the end of this presentation, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. I'm going to review some wonderful studies and provide you with evidence on the positive effects of gratitude. Because if you can incorporate gratitude into your life every morning and every night, you can experience its multiple benefits. This particular study showed that gratitude really does improve acceptance of ourselves. In fact, the participants in this study that reported use of gratitude had higher levels of self-compassion and self-acceptance. We have seen so many studies also come out, and many that are really good systematic reviews that shows gratitude improves heart health. These particular studies were systematic reviews that showed, again, people who lived a more grateful life experienced lower blood pressure, lower heart rates, reduced hemoglobin, A1C levels. So this one systematic review identified gratitude as a preventive strategy for cardiovascular disease. That's so important because cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in our country for both men and women. 1 out of 3 men and women die of cardiovascular disease. But there are many things we can be doing to prevent it. Healthy lifestyle behaviors like physical activity, healthy eating. But one strategy often overlooked is gratitude. The other systematic review and meta-analysis that was done really also showed daily practices of gratitude with people who had coronary artery disease. They experienced decreased anxiety, stress, and depression. So again, gratitude daily can improve and prevent cardiovascular disease. Think about also how gratitude can improve our relationships. When I was dean at Arizona State University, we couldn't give raises to our faculty and staff for 4 solid years. But I implemented a series of gratitude practices with my faculty and staff that kept them engaged, that kept their moods up. We can implement simple gratitude practices every single day that will help our mood. It will help our relationships. In fact, during that 4-year time period in Arizona, people said those gratitude practices that we implemented were more meaningful to them than actually getting raises. This particular study showed gratitude improves teamwork and decreases burnout. That's a big issue, given that right now, for those of you that are clinicians are experiencing burnout on average about 50%. So if we can make gratitude a more daily, a weekly practice, we can improve teamwork and burnout. This was another study that was done to look at the impact of a brief gratitude intervention on subjective well-being as well as biological factors. The intervention in this particular study was to have participants journal just what people were thankful for every single morning for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of journaling what you are thankful for or who, these participants had increased optimism, improved sleep, as well as improved blood pressure. Another study that was done with individuals who were suffering with osteoarthritis found that, again, gratitude practices led to less chronic pain symptoms. So again, gratitude is a terrific evidence-based tool for chronic pain management. Now, we give often antidepressants for people who are suffering with depression and anxiety. Those antidepressants, also called SSRIs, allow more serotonin to stay within the brain to lessen depression or anxiety. But studies have been done that show daily gratitude practices can also increase serotonin and dopamine in the brain. As a result of an increase in those substances, there is less anxiety, stress, and depressive symptoms experienced. So I'm really going to encourage all of you, get into the habit of daily gratitude practices. So when you get up in the morning, take 3 to 5 seconds, write down 2 to 3 things or people that you're grateful for. Just try it for a period of 30 days. And after 30 days, see how much better you feel. If you have family in your home, children, create a gratitude board. Get people to come in when they wake up in the kitchen in the morning. Write down just 2 to 3 things you're grateful for. We've been encouraging our Buckeye Wellness innovators to establish this practice. Units are creating gratitude boards. So when we do come back to campus, let's see these gratitude boards put up all around the university. Again, this is an evidence-based practice that's going to have really good outcomes. Think about writing just a thank you email to 1 or 2 people today. Thank them for their support, for something that they did. Make a phone call. Thank somebody for being a good friend to you. Again, that will have so much positive effect, not only for those people, but for us. There are gratitude apps that you can download to help you practice daily gratitude. I list some of them here on this slide. You have the Gratitude Happiness Journal, the I Am app that helps with positive affirmations. I truly am encouraging you, download one of these apps, try it, use it for 30 to 60 days and see how you feel. Well, I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Nick Vujicic. He was born with no limbs. He responded when somebody asked him how he manages to be happy despite the fact that he has no arms and no legs. He says, the quick answer is that I have a choice. I can be angry about not having limbs, or I can be thankful that I have a choice. I can be angry about not having limbs, or I can be thankful that I have a purpose. I chose gratitude. He's got a beautiful family today. He has 3 children. He is a fabulous motivational speaker. So again, I know it's a stressful time for so many of you right now, but we can choose to get up in the morning and we can choose to focus on what we have versus what we don't. I also choose gratitude. Again, try it. 30 to 60 days, daily gratitude to experience these positive effects. Today, I am grateful for my family, my character building pugs, as they give me unconditional love. When I don't feel like getting up in the morning, eating healthy, engaging in physical activity, engaging in stress reduction tactic, I put these wonderful people in front of me and I say, I'm going to do it for them because they want me to be around for a very long time. I really want to emphasize to all of you, it is not selfish to take good self-care. We have got to take great self-care to take good care of other people. So I encourage you, make self-care a priority, if not for yourself, for the people who love you, who want you to be around for a really long time. So let's practice gratitude right now and for the next 30 days. What I'd like you to do is just quickly write down, today I am grateful for 3 people or 3 things. And I'd also encourage some of you to share with all of us what you're grateful for in the chat box. So make today your day 1 of gratitude practice. Do it again the next 30 days and see how much better you feel. Now, when we look at a glass, half full or half empty, what do you see Do you tend to see that glass as half full, or do you tend to see it as half empty? If you were born an optimist like me, we see the silver linings in what is occurring that is stressful around us. And we have so much research that shows people who are optimistic experience less anxiety, less depression, less chronic disease. But the main message I want you to hear from me on this topic today is that you can cultivate your trait of optimism. Maybe you weren't born with rose-colored glasses on, but you can cultivate optimism in your life. It's like other components of resiliency, but we have to practice them to be effective. Dan Buettner went all throughout the world looking for the places where people were the happiest. He found Costa Rica, Denmark, Singapore, and Boulder, Colorado were the happiest places in the world. People there shared some key traits. They were passionate and purposeful about what they were doing in their life. So now I'm going to give you a happiness quiz. Do you think life is short or long? Do you think life is hard or easy? There was a study that was done with people asking these questions. People who thought life was short and hard had more issues with anxiety, with depression, had more chronic disease. So again, if we can cultivate gratitude, positivity, if we can cultivate waking up every morning with purpose and passion, knowing your sense of purpose is worth up to 7 years of extra life expectancy. There is one thing I always ask people, and that is, if I could be your fairy godmother, what will you do in the next 5 to 10 years if you know you cannot fail? If you stay aligned with that purpose and that passion, you'll never feel like you work a day in your life. So remember, back to lecture 1 in this series, when we change our thinking, we can change our life. Remember to practice your ABCs, those cognitive behavioral skills. We have so much evidence that those decrease anxiety, stress, and depression. One thing that will help us is positive affirmations. So if we tend to be more pessimistic in our thinking, to get up every day, write down a couple positive affirmations, say them over and over again. This little girl provides a great example of positive affirmations. That's
now, my whole house is great. I can do anything good. I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my Allisons. I like my moms. I like my sisters. I like my dad. I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my good. Better than anyone. Better than anyone. Now.
Just think, everybody, if we got up and did that first thing in the morning, if we taught our children to do that, how much better we would feel, how much more self-confidence we would have. So why practice gratitude and positivity? Because when we do, research has shown it will lead to less anxiety, depression, chronic disease, and improve our happiness. So positive psychology is the scientific study of what makes our lives worth living and meaningful. It enables us to flourish through PERMA, that is having positive emotions, engaging fully, building meaningful relationships, having purpose, passion, achieving. And this all leads to flourishing in our lives. So in the Stay Calm and Well Series 2, we will devote a whole lecture to why positive psychology and how to employ those concepts so that we flourish. Stay tuned for Staying Well and Calm Part 2, which will start on July 15th. We have taken your feedback. Thank you so much for completing the surveys. That feedback is being used to craft the next Part 2 series. I really want to thank all the wonderful people and our partners for this wonderful Stay Calm and Well series. And if we couldn't motivate you enough to practice the skills that we have included in this 8-week series, this little girl is going to pump you up. Stay well, everybody. Best wishes, and see you soon.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true. Just do it! Some people dream of success. And you're going to wake up and we're going to work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to a point where anyone else will quit. And you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it.
Thank you, everybody. By the way, for those of you who are parents with 11 to 14-year-old early teens, we are converting this series to be developmentally appropriate for early adolescence. So stay tuned for communication on when that will begin. I'll take a few questions now.
Sure. So a couple of quick things that I'd like to address, and then we'll do a couple of questions with Bern. For the part 2 of this series, we're working out the logistical details and getting everything streamlined for us so we're on the same page. We will send an email out to this audience with the information once we have it up. It will be on the lookout for that in the next week or so, so that you can register. The second part is there was a question about to see how many of the knowledge check, the surveys that you've completed. On Monday, you will receive an email notifying you of all the weekly submissions from 1 through 7. So for this one, the last week, we won't be able to include that in Monday's email, but please just make sure you complete that one. So hopefully that should answer that. So Bern, couple of questions for you. Someone was interested if you could share some of the gratitude practices that you used at Arizona State.
Yes. So recognition. I would often write cards to people. Like if somebody did something that I thought was super special, that upheld our values, I would handwrite a card. Handwritten notes are still really important for people. You know, we live in this email age, but the meaning of a handwritten card is super, super important. We also used gratitude boards. If you're a manager, if you're a supervisor, think about putting up, as we transition back in your work environment, a gratitude board. You can also do that virtually, but it honestly lifts people's spirits. So little things like this can do wonders for people's moods and morale.
Next question. Someone commented, I really don't like to journal, but want to get started for the benefits. Do you have any recommendations for starting a gratitude journal that doesn't feel like homework?
That doesn't feel like what, David?
Homework.
I think he said that doesn't feel like homework, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to. If you don't want to jot it down, I think that jotting it down is super important. But again, have something, a motivational gratitude quote where you work, and then just get up and just jot 2 or 3 people or things that you're grateful for. Writing these types of things down helps instead of just having them up here in your mind. So again, writing it down, at least take 2 to 3 seconds every morning. Do that. I promise you, it works.
A good follow-up to that one. Is it okay to repeat things that you're grateful for, or do you need to every day?
That's an excellent question. You can repeat. The important strategy is that you're doing it, and you're doing it daily. So if you want to wake up every day and say, I'm grateful for my 3 daughters and my 2 character-building pugs, that's fine. Just get in the habit of doing it.
Sure. We'll do one more. We talk about cultivating optimism, even when we feel pessimistic. Are there immediate takeaways for how to switch our thinking, possibly a key point or 2?
Yeah. Positive affirmations. That's a powerful tool. Just like that little clip with that little girl. Because what you're doing, if you tend to be more of a pessimistic thinker, when you're saying positive affirmations, you're rewiring circuits, synapses within the brain. And eventually you practice that enough daily, you're going to see a switch from more negative to more positive thinking. If anybody else has any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me at Melnyk.15. I care about each and every one of you, and I really do want to hear from you what else we can be doing to help you as we begin to transition back to a very transitioned world. Thanks again, everybody. Stay well.